All right.
There we go.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Paige. Very good afternoon to all of you. Welcome back to the session of this is the second part of the empowering the public in ocean science. Yeah. So welcome back. And with me, I have here Dr. Annette. Most probably she can do her own introduction. She would share with us some success stories that she has done, and following to her sharing, we'll open a session of discussion, and we can ask questions and we can hear your thoughts on or comments on how we can do this better together. Okay, over to you, Dr. Annette. Thank you.
Hello, thank you very much, Prof. Eileen. Please allow me to share my screen. Sorry, Paige, I think I need you to...
Sorry,
Yeah.
I just changed that. You should be able to share now.
Okay, let me try again. Okay, it works now. So I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
All
Yes,
right,
we
that's
can.
great. Thank you very much. Yeah, thanks, Prof. Eileen. So I am also from the Center for Marine and Coastal Studies, University Science Malaysia. And I hope you allow me a little bit of time to actually introduce a little bit about our country and also our center. So where we are from is Malaysia. I've put a map here, but I think a lot of people tend to skip out Malaysia when it comes to Southeast Asia. They know where Singapore is. They know where Thailand is. So if you can see the cursor, Singapore is here and we have Thailand. Malaysia is right smack in between. So there's the east and also the west of Malaysia. And this tiny little island is where we are situated, University Science Malaysia. And we have the Center for Marine and Coastal Studies way up in the northwest. So Penang Island is actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And we also recently received the UNESCO Biosphere Reserve status. So I don't know how many of you have actually visited Malaysia or even Penang. Yeah, we can talk a little bit about where we are. So Penang is actually very, very popular even among Malaysians because it is also a place where you can find very, very interesting cultures and it's very diverse. We have a lot of religions, a lot of races similar around in Malaysia. And specifically to Penang, we are actually known for our different types of food. I have put here some photos. These are some of my favorite foods. It might look something strange to you. Like here, this is something called laksa. It is noodles, rice noodles, and it is in a broth that is made from fish. It's sourish and spicy, and it has quite a strong, pungent smell. So it might not be for everyone, but it's quite popular in Penang Island. So we have different cultures. Some are from the Malay heritage. You have the roti canai. You have some from Indian heritage, Chinese heritage, and there's a lot of minority cultures which you can find in Penang Island. So this specific fruit, you might have heard of it. It's called durian. It's very spiky, very thorny. Most Malaysians love this fruit so much. It's one of Prof. Eileen's favorite fruit. It's, to me, kind of stinky. It smells very, very strong. So it's either you love it or you hate it, right? So being in Penang, you have a lot of diversity, many, many different things. There's probably a lot of interesting and unknown cultures that you can learn from Penang. However, just to highlight that there are similarities happening in Penang and the rest of the world. Yeah, we do have lovely beaches on the island, but if you look closely, especially in this picture, at the strand line, you can see some trash, right? And lots of plastic pieces. So this is a common problem, worldwide issue. Plastic pollution and marine debris pollution is a worldwide problem, right? So pictures like this may be common to you. It may start to seem normal, but I hope we don't normalize this problem, and we have to address what's going on, right? So we have to pay attention to the issues that is happening, especially to our marine life. Photos like this are common. Sometimes we tend to overlook, we forget that there's a lot of life that's being hurt, being injured. Even this particular photo, I find this quite interesting because these are all small pieces of plastic. Okay, so these are microplastics. If I'm not mistaken, there's about like 300 pieces. And this particular photo was taken by a photographer, Mandy Barker. And all these pieces were actually removed from the belly of a bird, right? A seabird, an albatross. So pictures like this are getting more and more common. However, what are we going to do about it? So the plastic pollution situation is actually getting worse. We can find plastics almost everywhere, even in the deepest part of the ocean. We can even get it from the air that we breathe. There are tiny particles floating around. You find them in our salt, in our tea bags. It's getting even scarier because we actually have found microplastics in human placenta, in stool, and the most recent one, you can find them in the bloodstream. So if that is not scary to you, I don't know what is. So slowly but surely, plastics are getting into the human food chain, right? So microplastics in our oceans get filtered by our filter feeders, plankton, it gets to our fish, and eventually it does come back to us. So it's dangerous, right? So what is the solution? Of course, there are many research going on, and there is more that we can actually do. I just want to highlight, this is quite a popular, I would say, company, NGO. Okay, it's a non-profit foundation, the Ocean Cleanup. Most probably you have heard about them. So what they are trying to do is actually to clean up the Pacific garbage patch. So he's still a very young guy. This is the CEO, Boyan Slat. He has actually designed different mechanisms, and he's actually trying to clean up the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. And you can see that he is quite successful up to a certain extent. And what they do is, with all the plastics that they have collected, those that he can actually recycle and he can process, he turns it into products. So for the time being, the sunglasses that you see he's wearing is actually made from ocean plastics, right? So this is one of the ways that people are trying to address the plastic pollution issue. Another thing done by the Ocean Cleanup is they are trying to stop plastics from getting to the ocean by intercepting it in the river. So we have something called the interceptor. These are a few, they have a few around the world at the moment. I'm sorry, I can't remember, probably about 5 or 6. And one of them is actually placed in the Klang River in Malaysia. So it's called the interceptor, and they actually try and clean up plastic pieces before they flow into the sea. So an overview Malaysian government is also trying to get the community in Malaysia to be more aware, right, about plastic pollution, all our activities. So we have a roadmap towards zero single-use plastics, and it is from 2018 to 2030, this policy. And comes to what we are doing at our center at CMAX. So basically we are a marine research center. We have studies on aquaculture, on biodiversity, and we also have awareness programs, and we do community outreach. One of the main topics that we actually highlight, or we try to get the public to be aware about, is plastic pollution. So there are a few activities that we do. So some of it are actually getting down and conducting beach cleanups. Sometimes we have exhibitions. We get invited to schools or some NGOs when they have their exhibitions. They do invite us. We also have activities at our center where school children or university level students or even the general public can come and participate in our programs. So I have tried to summarize the initiatives that we do, which is related to citizen science, right? Generally, we can look at it as 3 different models. So one of it is the International Coastal Cleanup Day, which is something that we do annually. So every year we try to have beach cleanup activities, which is usually in September. So we will always have some programs to highlight the International Coastal Cleanup Day. And then the second activity or the initiatives that we have is called Collect. It is done with POGO and also a local school. And the final initiative we have is a very specific and a targeted activity, which is focused on Pulau Gazumbo. Is an island in Penang. So let's go through one by one. For our first model, which is the International Coastal Cleanup Day. So we usually highlight to the public about having clean beaches. So, and we also want them to know that we should be responsible, and we do organize beach cleanup activity during September. So the International Coastal Cleanup Day is on the 3rd Saturday of September. So this is one that I would like to highlight, which was done on a very large scale. This is in the year 2018. So we managed to work with the Penang state government and a few NGOs and some of the factories, the industrial area. And we had about 1,100 volunteers to clean up the coastal area, which is about a stretch of 4 kilometers. So in 2 hours, we collected about 1,500 kilograms of trash. So the top items that we had collected is actually cigarette butts, straws, and also plastic bags. So what we do is we don't just clean up the beach. We don't just go and pick up trash, but we also collect the data. So this is where citizen scientists are engaged. So we actually teach the public on how to collect data. We do have the form, which is from the Ocean Conservancy. You can check their website and you can download the forms. And we get the public to actually note down what type of trash that they collect and they pick up from the beach, right? So we do that yearly, but unfortunately in the year 2019, we couldn't proceed with this activity. But in year 2020, we still wanted to pursue on and try to go on with this activity, even though our country was actually having a lot of restrictions, I guess, worldwide because of the pandemic. So in the year 2020, we got a little bit creative. So we still wanted to proceed with the activity. We still wanted to go on with the International Coastal Cleanup Day beach cleanup activity. So we tried to shift our model a little bit. So what we did is instead of just opening up the beach cleanup in one area, which what we always did, we tried to engage more people by putting this activity online. So what we did is we taught people how to do their own beach cleanups by having our own video tutorial. And we put up the form online. So we put it up in a Google form, and we gave them the method on how they can actually do their own beach cleanup. And after they have finished with their beach cleanup, what they needed to do was to actually submit the data to us. So we will compile all the data and we will share it in our Facebook and also our Instagram page. So the photo that you see here is actually conducted all in a single day, but in different parts of the country. So for that particular year, there were 88 people who were involved all over Malaysia. And we also found COVID-related items that were collected. So there are face masks this time and gloves and also PPE. So this was done in 12 locations throughout the country with 88 participants. So this is another International Coastal Cleanup Day, which we did in the following year, 2021. So in our country at that time, it was still not fully open. So we did not want to have a very large scale beach cleanup activity. So we had a very small one for our own center. So we only had about 12 people who went out to the beach, the same beach. So we are collecting data from the same beach every year. And for this particular year, we had about 51 kilograms of trash collected for 1 hour. And this is just a screenshot of our YouTube channel. So what we do is we put up a tutorial video. So this is one of the ways to actually engage with the public. So what I've noticed throughout the years is that people are getting more and more interested. They're getting more keen. They want to do something because everyone is starting to be aware now that the plastic pollution problem is really getting out of hand, and not only changing our lifestyle, but actually going out there and doing something. I guess in a way, it does make you feel better that you are doing something. So they get really involved, and we do get a lot of engagement in our social media, asking us how can they help, what can they do. So the public in Penang especially, they are getting more aware. And so for our role in CMAX, what we do is we try to put out more information, more knowledge, teaching people how they can actually conduct their own beach cleanup following
Akinyele Street, then turn right onto Akinyele Street.
Okay, so this is the results that we got for the year 2021. So what we do after every beach cleanup is we collect the data and then we will share it back with the public. All right, so that was the first module, which we do every year. So once a year in September for International Coastal Cleanup Day. And the second model that I wanted to share is something that we work on with Pogo. So it's called the Collect project. It's a short form for citizen observation of local litter in coastal ecosystems. Okay, so this is actually run by these two lovely ladies on the right here. They are the project PIs. And we have a lot of collaborators. What I'd like to highlight is that this project actually is based in Africa, right? So the main project is conducted in different parts of Africa. And we have shown interest to collaborate and to actually bring this model to Malaysia. So we are the first group to conduct this project outside of Africa. So below you can see, this is the method, how this project is done. So they engage school children, and what they do initially is the whole project actually takes 2 weeks. So the first day they will, before they actually engage the school, of course they have to get the consent forms and they have to go through with the information session. So besides collecting data on the beach plastic pollution, they also get information about the students. So there's a questionnaire which the students need to fill up before the project. And after they have conducted the data collection, they will also have to answer a second questionnaire. So these are the screenshots. Okay, so they also come with a video tutorial. It's very simple and very interesting video that they have created. So it's very easy for school children to actually understand. And it comes with also a data sheet, which is simplified, very easy for the student to actually conduct the data collection. So for our part, we have taken this protocol and we are doing this data collection with one of the schools in Penang. So far we only engage one school. So what they do is we take them out to the beach and we collect samples. And then the following week, we will actually analyze the sand samples and to see how much microplastics is in the sample. So this is the first school in Malaysia to undertake this collect project. So this is the Prince of Wales Island International School, Penang. For so far, we have engaged 3 different groups of students, and it seems to be going quite well. The students actually enjoy themselves. I mean, they get to go out on the beach and run around for a short while outside of the classroom, but at the same time, they are becoming more and more aware about the plastic pollution issue. So another thing about this school is that they conduct beach cleanup activities once a week as well. And all of the plastics which they collect, they convert it into new material. So they upcycle it and they repurpose it into bookmarks, into frisbees. I would say this school is very forward and they are really good, doing a good job teaching their students about the SDGs, not only SDG 14, but all the other SDGs as well. So here are some of the examples, some photos that the students are conducting their data collection. And the final model is more on citizen scientists collecting data in this particular island. So it's called Pulau Gazumbo or Gazumbo Island. So it's a small island actually of Penang. And this island is situated in, there's a seagrass bed. Okay, there's a large seagrass bed remaining in the Straits of Malacca. Sorry, I did not put any maps for you to see. But this particular area has been actually, we are trying to work on gazetting this particular area to protect it. And we're going to call it the Middle Bank Marine Sanctuary. So this is where the Gazumbo Island is situated. So this whole area, there is the only seagrass bed, and it has a very high biodiversity areas. So some of the photos that I'm sharing here, you can see we have different types of animals, sea anemones, sea cucumbers. We have different types of crustaceans and also many types of mollusks. So from the outside, if you're going to look at this small little island, it just looks like any other island, just with some trees and you can see the beach. But once you get on it, it's a real shocking sight. Well, at least for me, because the first time I went to this island, I couldn't really believe my eyes because there's so much of plastic waste. And it's really eye-opening, I would say, because usually I did not expect to see such a sight anywhere in Penang. So I'm from Penang. I grew up on this island, but I've never seen so many plastic waste. And we never thought that this would be happening in our own backyard, right? So this particular problem or issue has been highlighted in the newspapers, and we are getting more aware of the plastic pollution happening in this particular island. So early around, I think around February this year, there were 35 volunteers who wanted to do something in this island. So we organized a beach cleanup activity, and once again, not just cleaning up the space, but we are actually collecting data. So this is where we get citizen scientists involved. Everyone was busy picking up the trash on the island, but at the same time, we are also collecting data. So 35 people were involved on that particular beach cleanup activity, and we had that for 3 hours, and around 700 kilograms of trash was collected. But to be honest, that 700 kilograms just don't make any difference at all to an island which has so many plastics collected in that area. All right, so I guess at bottom line is we usually ask ourselves, what can we do? Instead of pointing fingers to the government, to everybody else, I think it's time we actually look at ourselves and think about what can we do, right? So there's a lot of things we can adjust, probably in our lifestyle. But I think bottom line is we have to do something. We have to think of ways to take action. Most of the times, there are small things or small habits that we can actually tweak in our behavior, try and change how we actually respond towards plastic pollution. And I think as youngsters, now there are many ways that we can talk about this, talk about the problem, create more awareness, just get creative. There are many platforms we can actually share about plastic pollution, share with your friends, also do something, right? So I guess this is kind of like the conclusion that I've come to. Usually is what I can do. Usually we feel like what we do is something very small. But then again, I think doing something small is better than not doing anything at all. So as a center in CMAX, we are very much involved in research, in educating the community. We engage schools, we engage the public around us in hopes that we will actually create more awareness, and also getting the public interested and getting them to think and getting them to want to do something, right? So besides that, we have postgraduate studies at our center for those of you who might be interested to do your postgraduate studies. We also take interns and also volunteers. So these are some of our students in these photos. And yeah, we would like to welcome you to our center and to our country. If you have the time, do drop by, make a visit. Maybe you can have an activity or a program together with us. So I think that's all my sharing for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ann, for a very engaging presentation. Now we would like to open up for discussion for those who want to know more, or maybe you would like to ask Dr. Ann what are the challenges, or can she share step by step on what how do we do engage the public for citizen scientists and for the outreach. What she says is definitely very correct. Each one of us can do small little things. We start with baby steps before we can actually do big events. So I would like to open the floor for discussion and sharing of thoughts. Anyone want to start first? How about Dr. Isa? Yes, I saw your hand. Yes, good. Dr. Isa.
Yes, thanks so much, Annette, for that amazing presentation. Yeah, I want to make some clarifications concerning your engagement with the community, with citizens. Yeah, apart from working with citizens, did you get support from the government institutions, especially Ministry of Environment and or probably Ministry of Ocean or Ministry of Water Resources? So was there any support from them? Because citizen science as well, it should be all inclusive and should include all stakeholders that are interested in ensuring that we have a clean and a pollution-free coastal environment. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, in terms of support for the Penang state government, we definitely have support in terms of funding, and also specifically you mentioned Department of Environment. For these particular 3 models that I shared, we don't work directly with them, but we do have communication and engagement with them for other activities in our center. So not for this particular 3, but I believe that's a good way that we can look forward to in the future, to work with a bigger support from the government.
I would like to add on a bit to Dr. Annette's response. Initially, when we start, we do face challenges in terms of getting fundings or even participation from the general public. We started off with doing a very small scale, just with our own students and our own staff. And then following to that, we of course, we have to rely on posting the activities in the social media. But once like I've mentioned yesterday, social media can play a very significant role in reaching out to a broader audience, and it's also a means of advertisement. So once it has, through the social media, we have reached out to the knowledge of the public as well as the local government. Then the center and also the basically our organizer of the event has been contacted by the public, the either from the corporate members or by the local government and schools to engage us to guide in the outreach program. So we have to start small and advertise and make sure that we are recognized and we are relevant to the activities. Then following to that, there will be less effort to promote the outreach program. Yeah, I hope that will give you some idea. Things have to start small, and when it's been known by a broader audience, then things will be easier. Yeah, okay. Can I call upon anyone who want to ask? Maybe I call Ido Wu. You know, I'm sorry if I pronounce your name wrongly. Ido Wu. Are you there, Ido Wu? Ido Wu Ologe. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yes, yes. Can you share your thoughts and about this sharing? Or you have any questions you would like to ask?
Yeah, I love our presentation. Let me start from there, because anything that involves the coming generation, I'm always interested. Actually, the colleague that invited me to this summer school, I'm not a ocean person, but I must confess I've been enjoying every bit of the class. And I'm into climate change, actually. That's why I'm interested, because I'm into climate change and adaptation. That is what I do. And my institution, we also engage secondary school pupils, because if they don't know about these things, they will grow up to be illiterate in these areas. And then we have to start all over again. And that's why I really love our presentation, engaging the community, engaging the schools, because there is a disconnect in Africa between the academic institution and the community. The community calls us learned, and we call them illiterate. And we realize that we are not people that are supposed to be trained for them to know that, okay, this thing is wrong. This is, look, I saw the picture of about the highlands she said she grew up on when she went back there, and there's so much plastic waste. Who are the people doing this? Of course, I won't go out there and throw a plastic on the road. I will find a dustbin to do that. But the people that does this, they didn't know that they're doing anything wrong. And that's why what this community involvement is very important. Because without the community being carried along, our work is futile.
Prof, I think you're muted.
Okay, thank you, Idoma, for your sharing. Thanks. I'm sorry that I muted myself. And you want to add on to the comments?
I was thinking of something just now because we were talking about social media, right? So I was a little curious, because now at the moment for our center, we have only two major social media platforms. So one of it is Facebook and one of it is Instagram. So probably just to get maybe feedback from the participants who are here today, what kind of platforms do you use nowadays for your social media? Because there are some opinions that says Facebook and Instagram are probably not the best ways to reach the public. Maybe you can give us some of your opinions or some thoughts. If there's any other platform that is good to engage with the public.
Yeah, that's a good question and thought. I think, and as well as pointed in the chat, I think a good platform would be LinkedIn. But also, in addition, I think a good platform would be Twitter. Just from my perspective, Facebook,
Right.
Instagram, those social media outlets are more so for the younger generation, not really the academic community.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, just wanted to say that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for your feedback. Yeah, I think we have to think about growing our social media presence wider instead of just these two platforms that we currently have, in order to engage a wider part of the community. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Isa, I saw your hand
Yes.
been raised. Yes.
Yeah, yes. I want to make this insight based on social media reach outs. Yeah, it's not one thing about social media connectivity, especially for science, might not be limited to our popular Twitter, LinkedIn, and the rest, because you need to look at the kind of audience you want. If you're looking for highly professional audience, you might consider LinkedIn. And if you're looking for a more balanced, probably audience, you can go for Twitter. But for real social engagement, you can try Facebook and probably Instagram for the real social output. So in order to reach out to link science to the community, it's important to look at the audience, the community you want to reach out to, what they are basically using. For example, in China, some of my colleagues in China will tell me they don't use Facebook. They use probably WeChat and some things like that are totally different from the normal social media engines or platform they use. So it's important to look at who are my audience and who are my community, and that will really allow, because now there are so many other ones springing up, like so many social media like Tinder and the rest. Even Facebook, I mean WhatsApp as well. WhatsApp is another social media platform that you can always look at to find these are my community, even Telegram and things like that. So it's important to not limit ourselves, because we scientists are making that mistakes a lot. In terms of science communication, it's important to really go broad and see how to connect to other people within the community. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, I think probably looking at LinkedIn, we will get into more professional contexts and a wider scope, not just the younger generation per se. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
We just want to add what really works for us. I mentioned we also do some community engagement work. For the kind of community we engage with, I work in Ibadan. Ibadan people don't use social media. They prefer radio jingles, and that's how we get them. So I don't know the kind of community you're working with. If it's a local community like my community, like Ibadan, then using Facebook, LinkedIn, and all these things, you're just wasting your time. These are market women, these are normal traders that all they have is their radio that plays 24/7, and they listen to all kinds of news. They are well informed. So if you want to really catch them, then it may cost you money, because all those social media is cheap or free, but radio jingle will cost you money, but you get your audience. You get a wider audience that is the communities that are not on social media. You will get them.
Yeah. Okay.
And you have anything to add? Yeah, sorry. And you have anything to add on to that?
Oh no, I think it's a great idea. So there's a lot for us to actually think about, and I'm thinking more of how we can actually improve and how we can widen our outreach.
Yeah, that's very true. Thank you for the comment, Edowo. Can I call upon Eddie Bayo? Eddie Bayo, are you there, Eddie Bayo? Eddie Bayo, are you there? How about Dr. Osas?
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, yes, okay, I've got you. Yes, Eddie Bayo, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good.
thank you very much for the presentations and all the discussions that have happened. It's for me, it's a phenomenon that we need to look into, especially in the case of saving our environment. And the rate at which plastic is being used globally today is very alarming. So I'm glad that we have about 2-3 Nigerians, in our university system on this call. I don't know if it is possible for them to kind of work to have a networking, platform where we probably can be, meeting as a group and be making some suggestions. I know there are quite a number of work that is being done around Lagos. I live in the city of Ibadan, and I know that there is, it's a huge challenge in Ibadan. So if these my Nigerian colleagues on this call that are doing something like this can facilitate the setting up of a network, then we can be all part of the process and be able to make our contribution in whatever way we can. So this is just a suggestion from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Adebayo. I think that's a good suggestion. We should not just stop sharing or discussing this in this platform. We should continue. If the need arises, we should continue and set up our own network so we can share experiences and challenges, because at times when we face challenges, we can feel like we are alone, whereas the same issues, the same constraint has been experienced by other groups that we can learn. We can have impactful lessons learned from other partners. So I think that is a very good suggestion. We will try. Hopefully, Paige can take a note and we can continue to engage with each other if that is possible. So I would like to have maybe 2 more comments from the group. Dr. Osas, yes, I see you have unmute yourself.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. That was a great presentation. It's like Adebayo just spoke my mind. And a lot of work is going on in big oceans, and the inland waters is sort of neglected. So, like I worked in Lower River Niger, Agenebode, pollution is a serious thing over there. See a lot of plastics on the river, and like what Adebayo said, if one could network and probably come together, we could do a great work as a team. I was actually looking at working on that river Niger at Agenebode Aziz, but I never got funding. So if we can also look at all these other water bodies, not just concentrating on the big oceans, if we can look at all these inland water bodies that serve the large communities of hundreds of thousands of population, I think it will be very good. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Osas. I think that is very true because most of the pollution starts from the land. So if we cannot just look at the ocean without looking at the land or the runoff from the rivers. So those are the things that, you know, and not just also not just focusing on plastic. There's other issues that we need to create awareness among the community. This is something that we should join hands and work together. Thank you, Dr. Osas, on that. Let's have one more. This iPhone 7 Plus. Okay, it's okay. I think you just joined. So can I have Tuluwani, because you have been listening. I would like to hear your thoughts on that, on the discussion. Tuluwani.
Good
Yes.
afternoon. Good
Thank
afternoon,
you.
everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. I just want to say that community engagement or community involvement can never be overemphasized. I think yesterday when we had the meeting, these sessions kind of like yesterday, I also said that I volunteered for a project in a community where they have like the largest coastal line in Nigeria, Araromi, Ondo State. And there's literally like, people just come, there's free access and free exit. And they come to the beach side and they just like party and they dump the old plastics on the beach side and then they go back again. There's nobody that is actually like following it up. The community don't see it as a big deal. And because they don't really majorly get things from the ocean because of trawlers, people from other countries, people from other places that are coming to fish on the ocean, they don't really want to like really partake in protecting the ocean. So I could remember when we went around talking to the community people, just making them see that, okay, once in a while, they should be able to go over there and pick up the plastics. But I also got to know that after we've left there, how many people do you think will actually do the follow-up of going back again to check on the community if they really, really are taking care of their ocean? Because as much as we are doing community engagement, the follow-up of the community engagement is actually very important, because we don't tell someone something once and assume that they will actually like do what we say they should do. Because normally they'll be practicing something like dumping of refuge for a long period of time. So one community engagement can't just be the whole thing that will change the whole situation. There will be a need for consistent follow-up on a particular community, even after the first time of visiting the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tuluwani. You know, how we engage the community usually is we get them involved at the very early stage. So by the time when the scientists or researcher want to exit any programs or any projects in any site, the community will now have the ownership of the project. So that is also very important when we are talking about community engagement. I see that for what's your name again? Yeah, I see that Felusa has raised your hand. Thank you, Tuluwani. Felusa, you want to say something, Felusa? Felusa, I saw your hand raised just now. Oh. If not, I'll hand back. Thank you, Dr. Annette. You have any last take-home message that you want the audience to remember you?
Yeah, thank you very much for everyone. I think it was a pleasure listening to your ideas and also opinions. I take home some messages for myself as well by chatting with all of you. So yeah, thank you very much for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Annette, for taking time to join us today. So I would like to pass the floor back to Paige. Maybe I would appreciate if all of you can on your video and would like to see all your big smiles. Over to you, Paige.
Absolutely. We could take another group shot if people are interested. Just gonna-
Hey.